In my previous video, I talk about the reasons why I want to quit my job, but I think it's only fair that I also talk about the reasons why I haven't quit yet. The truth is, if quitting was easy, I would have done it a long time ago. So this video isn't about fear, it's just me being raw and being real with you guys. It's about simply acknowledging the things that are still holding me here, not to invalidate my desires to leave, but I simply wanted to be a responsible quitter and to prepare and understand my situation better. Am I in the middle? Or no, should I move here? So these are the 7 reasons that are keeping me from quitting my job for now. Reason number 1, stable income. The first reason is very simple. For someone who grew up with financial uncertainty, stability matters a lot to me. Knowing that a fixed amount comes in every month and on time, it gives me a sense of security that's kind of hard to replace instantly. With this stable income, the rent gets paid, the bills don't pile up, that there's less anxiety around survival, especially as an expat. Having predictable income feels like safety for me. And even though I dream of working for myself, I am very aware that consistency doesn't come instantly. So once I quit my job and start relying on online business or side hustles, I I honestly don't know if how fast it will work out. I mean, I'm willing to give it my best. I'm willing to give it my time, my energy, to make it work. I'm willing to give it my 100%, but I just don't know when it will become sustainable enough for me to live on without constantly worrying about money or burning through my savings. And I really want to get to a place where I can live with a bit more peace and less stress in my body, and hopefully a very regulated nervous system. Reason number 2 is housing and transportation allowance. This is the second reason, simply because the housing and transportation support is very, very crucial, and living abroad is super expensive. So, rent alone can be extremely overwhelming. Having assistance with housing and transportation takes away a huge financial burden for me. It's one of those benefits that you don't fully appreciate until you imagine living without it. In my current company, you have the options when it comes to housing. You can either stay in company accommodation or choose to live outside and simply manage the housing allowance yourself. Most of us prefer the second because it is more cost effective for expats. You can find a smaller but comfortable place to live. And if you manage it well, you usually still have a bit left over that can help cover other things or other necessity like food, internet, or other everyday expenses that you may have. So just knowing that this part is covered, whether you are staying in the company accommodation or not, it already gives so much peace of mind. You don't wake up worrying about how you're going to pay rent for next month, and that alone takes a huge weight off. So if I quit now, those expenses will now become my very own responsibility overnight. And that is why it is something that I am carefully preparing for. Reason number 3, health insurance. This is another big one for me. Like I mentioned in my previous video, I've been lucky so far because I have not had any major medical issues. And even though I'm quite skinny, I rarely get sick. I've never been hospitalized, never rushed to the emergency room, and I haven't had any serious health scares while working here. And I'm really grateful for that. But that's exactly why health insurance matters, because you don't really think about it until the moment you suddenly need it. So knowing that Even while I'm still healthy and functioning, I am covered just in case something happens. So it gives me a lot of peace of mind, and it's one less thing to worry about. And that kind of security is hard to let go of. I know that there's a lot of options to choose from that you can get on your own. So most probably that's what's going to happen to me once I decide to be on my own. There are so many options available now for self-employed and for entrepreneurs, and that actually gives me some relief knowing that once I quit, there are ways for me to handle insurance and I wouldn't have to worry about it too much. Especially since my goal is to work from home or remotely, which I really believe will allow me to hopefully be more healthier overall, physically, emotionally, and mentally. Because then, if I'm just staying at home, I'll be able to manage my own time. I'll be avoiding commuting to work. I can cook my own meals. So it's raining. It's raining. Oh, that's why it's so cold right now. So less chances of me eating outside, which are only processed and junk foods anyway. And also I can stay away from unnecessary stress or toxic situations. Whether that's from a manager or a colleague. But for now, knowing that my company covers my health insurance gives me peace of mind, and it allows me to focus on work and daily life without constantly having to worry about those what if moments. So walking away from that safety net definitely requires some serious planning. Reason number four: discounted airfare and travel opportunities. So, another reason that keeps me here is the access to discounted airfares and the chance to travel to different country. Working in the aviation industry comes with a lot of perks and benefits or certain privileges that not everyone gets. And this is one of the big ones. Being able to fly at a lower or heavily discounted cost has allowed me to see places I probably wouldn't have visited otherwise. As an airport staff, we pay around 50-90% less. And sometimes we even just have to pay the taxes for the ticket. And that already makes a huge difference because the money you save on the airfare ticket can go towards your other travel needs. Let's say, for example, your hotel, food, tours, or even a bit of shopping here and there. So it really makes traveling feel more accessible. Traveling alone has really shaped me. It gave me perspective, it gave me independence. Seeing different countries, their cultures, and their ways of living helped me understand the world and myself even better. It pushed me to be more confident, more adaptable, and more open minded. There's also this benefit where once you reach 15 years of service, you get a lifetime ticket. You only pay the taxes. I'm currently on my 10th year in the company, and honestly, I don't know if I have it in me to stay another 5 years just to get that benefit. I hope one day I will not eat these words. I hope one day I will not delete this video. But right now, I really don't see it in me that I will be staying for another 5 years just to get that. It sounds really tempting, getting a lifetime free ticket. But there's also a downside to that because since it's still considered like a staff ticket, you'll always be on standby. You always need to monitor whether you will be accepted on the flight. There's still this anxiousness, the same way that we feel every time we travel as a staff, because anytime they can just refuse you on the flight and you will have to list yourself for the next available flight. So it's kind of it's not a smooth process as well. But yeah, lifetime ticket is one of the biggest benefit of working in the aviation. Once I quit, this is something I'll lose, but I know that I'm not the only one. A lot of my colleagues are already as tired as I am, but they're still holding on to this job. They're still staying in this company, mostly because of the airfare benefits. And even though I'm craving a slower life now, I cannot deny how valuable this benefit has been for me. Reason number five is yearly bonus. Okay, so bonus. We usually get it every year unless the company doesn't meet its overall targets or budget, like what happened during the pandemic. But aside from that, it's been pretty consistent in the past 2 or 3 years. So I know that not all companies offer this kind of benefit. So I do see it as one of the perks of working for a larger company and being part of a bigger industry. It's not something you rely on every month, but when it comes, it's really a huge help. It usually goes into savings, emergency funds, sometimes travel, family, and other things that sometimes are not considered important because you wanted to kind of like treat yourself because you get bonus once a year. So, looking back, I honestly wish I had been more financially educated when I first started. I mean, I wish I had saved every single bonus that I got and put it straight into my savings account. But I was a new expat back then, so eager to experience a lot of things, so eager to experience life, and I wasn't very responsible with my money. But now I know better. I'm more disciplined, more aware, and more intentional with my spending habits. And having that yearly bonus has always given me extra cushion, and it makes life feel less tight. And walking away from that kind of extra perks isn't a small decision to let go of. Reason number six, overtime and holiday pay. Another practical reason, I will be honest, I hate doing overtimes. I don't really like doing overtime anymore. When I first joined this company, especially during my first 2 years, I was obsessed with it. I worked nonstop. I worked around 12 hours a day, 6 days a week for months. I think I've done that for like 7 to 8 months straight. I barely slept. I was just chasing money without realizing how much it was costing me. Like, I'm so greedy. I mean, not only me, but our entire batch. I think it's because we sign up a part-time contract back then, and all the senior staffs are like, "Oh, it's okay, don't worry about it. You can still earn a lot of money, just do a lot of overtimes." And so, like, in our head, as soon as we got released from the training, that's like, "Okay, let's do overtime. We're gonna earn a lot of money." So we were like really hustling hard, like nonstop. But after a while, I slowed down because I noticed a lot of changes. And one by one, some of my colleagues started getting sick. And on top of that, the overtime pay became a little bit more complicated. There's a lot of disputes. And in order for you to fix that, you need to do a lot of follow ups. And even if you do follow ups, the payments will be delayed or something like that. And that entire process alone was just too exhausting for me. So I stopped actively chasing overtime. Now I don't really volunteer for it anymore. Like, I'm done with it. I have no intentions of extending additional hours. I'd rather go home early and enjoy the remaining hours, spending time doing something or doing nothing. I just want to spend time alone. I just want to spend this extra remaining time of my day for myself. But since I have been in this company for over 10 years, overtime still finds me. Even when I don't ask for it, sometimes it's built straight into the roster. Like, you are paid for it, but you don't really get a choice. And if you don't show up, there will be consequences, there will be violations. So we call it ROT, or rostered overtime, which in my own term is forced overtime. You're being forced in to continue the shift for another 4 or 6 hours without your permission or without having any choice. I won't go into too much detail, but basically, because I've been around for a long time in the company, I'm trained in a lot of systems And that makes it easier for my managers to assign extra hours to me instead of finding someone else. And honestly, even though I don't necessarily like to do the overtime, I feel grateful because, again, of course, I get paid for it. There are a lot of staffs who wants to do overtime, but they don't get it. It's not being given to them because they are not trained on certain systems. They only have a few flights that they can handle. And in my case, whether I like it or not, those extra hours are there. And again, like I said, I do get paid for them, so I just take them. There are times that I ask permission if I can go home early, especially if I notice that the airport is very quiet and there's not many passengers and the load of the flights are very less. So while I have the uh, I have the option to like ask them if they don't need me or if they don't need my extra hours, if I can just go home early. And sometimes they allow me. And that's, I think, because it's also because of my contract. I think that's for another video. There's another story regarding the contract, but again, I mean, I won't deny this part that financially it helps a lot, especially when unexpected expenses come up. The overtime is support, and for now, that safety still matters to me. So it it's something that I have to include into this list because it's also important to consider that. Reason number 7, it pays the bills and funds my lifestyle. This is probably the most honest one because this job pays my bills and supports the life I have right now. It allows me to live alone, support myself, send money back home, and simply enjoy the small things once in a while, like visiting cafes, traveling once or twice a year, little comforts, buying few things that again I need or don't need. But yeah, I also know that a lot of people are struggling to find work right now. I know that some people would be very happy to be in my position, and I don't take that lightly. I am genuinely grateful for this job, for the experiences, the stability, the bonuses, the perks, and the benefits that came with it. That's actually one of the reasons I am making this video, to simply acknowledge all of that. It's also why I'm not quitting recklessly. I feel like I have always respected the work that I do. I mean, I show up, I've barely taken sick leaves over the years, and I don't skip work. I may not be the most competitive employee or the one aiming for higher positions, but that's because I chose early on to prioritize my health and well-being over titles. But I've always been a steady employee. I come to work, I do my job, and I do my best. So when the time comes for me to leave, it won't come from frustration or resentment. It will naturally come from a place of clarity and readiness, because this may not be the life that I want forever, but it's the life that keeps me stable right now. And I respect that, and I'm truly honored and grateful for that. I think that the hardest part of this stage in life is holding two truths at the same time. I want to quit my job. I'm not ready yet. And both are true. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. I am very vocal to say that, and I before I'm not very confident to say that, but now I feel a lot more comfortable to be real and to be honest with myself, to admit that this job gave me stability, experiences, growth, and at the same time, it's no longer where my heart wants to stay for longer. And I do acknowledge that. So for now, I'm choosing preparation over panic and planning things out over rushing things, over being reckless. If you are in a similar place, I hope this reminds you that it's okay to pause, acknowledge, you're wise, acknowledge the reasons, and to take your time. You don't really have to quit unnecessarily or recklessly. You don't have, but you don't have to stay there forever as well. I mean, you're allowed to take your time, you're allowed to make choices for yourself, but consider being a responsible quitter. So, those are my top 7 reasons for still staying in this job while I am preparing for my exit. Allow me to take a moment to thank my first 3 subscribers. Seeing that little number 3 honestly made me smile. It's such a small thing, but it means a lot to me. So thank you so much for being here and for choosing to subscribe, even if my channel is pretty new. The fact that you've decided to stay and follow this channel already means a lot to me, and I'm just really grateful that my video reached you. I know I'm not the best storyteller, and English isn't my first language as well, so my accent is there and my grammar isn't always perfect, but I really hope my message still comes through despite all of that. I just wanted to say thank you truly to the 3 of you who subscribe, and I hope my videos are comforting, helpful, or at least something you enjoy spending time with. And if you just found my channel and you happen to just come across this video, welcome to my channel. And thank you for clicking on this video. And hopefully, you were able to get some wisdom or lessons or ideas, tips, and whatnot. So I'm really grateful that you're here. Hopefully, you will decide to subscribe or come back for more videos in the future. Thank you so much for sitting with me today and see you on the next video. Bye.